Hello and welcome to WOLFpak TV. I am so excited for my conversation today because we have the one and only, the man who needs no introduction. We have the legendary Lee Priest. So give it up for Lee.
Woo! Mexican wave. That's right. Thank God there's only one only. Thank God. Imagine two.
The world couldn't handle it. Speaking of which, Lee, okay, before we came live, I wanted to know a little bit more about, your bodybuilding history. So why don't you, before we dive into our conversation today, why don't you share with the audience what you told me about your bodybuilding career? Because I thought it was fun.
Well, all my trophies and that, I got rid of them because I just used to have them in a box and they'd be kept in storage. And when I moved places, I'd always have to take them with me and they'd get broken and stuff. So I'm just going to auction them off. And when I did do that, Sean Ray comes on and goes, Lee must be tight for money. Lee must be this and that. I'm like I said, every dollar I got from him, I gave him to animal shelters and stuff like that to take care of animals. And then I'd get letters from people, like a gym might have brought one, or some young kids, and they'd send me a photo and go, here's your trophy. It's in our gym. It inspires people. So I'm thinking my trophy's better in some gym inspiring people than I could sit here like people do with all my trophies behind me and look at all my medals, look at my accomplishments, pat myself on the back. But I'm like, I haven't got time for that shit. I can remember until the day I get Alzheimer's and I can't remember, then I can remember what I've done and that sort of thing. So I don't need them sitting there as a reminder, because like I said, most things behind me are just like, actors I've met, John Travolta or something like that, or then, President Bush made me honorary Texan. The city of Metropolis had like a Lee Priest day. I got a couple of photos when I was drag racing and won the championship, and Hall of Fame from NABA, letter from the Queen, a Rookie of the Year thing when I was racing. Yes, I wrote to the Queen. My wife's like, why do you write to the Queen for? I said, why not? I want to ask her some questions. And she barely writes back. Normally the maid or lady in waiting returns some of the letters. But the odd occasion, she might write one back and sign it. And there I got an award from like law enforcement for supporting them. And but I think really bodybuilding stuff is like, it's like none of it.
Well, it's awesome to hear that. For everyone who is joining us, it's today we're talking about gym culture, but we're actually going to dive into just the culture of just across the board based off of like where we're at in this generation and everything like that. And so a really good place for us to start is to talk about Lee in the peak of his career when he was there's a legendary photo, and this is on our thumbnail. So I want to show this, and you know it well. So let's just talk about this. It's almost
I paid $1 for every time I seen that picture, and so
you should get royalties.
I know.
People tried to copy this photo. So tell me the story behind this photo. You've probably told it a million times, but tell it again.
I think I was just training in the gym that day, and Tom was there. We were chatting earlier on. I think just at the end of the workout, that's that, there used to be that big gate there at Gold's in the first room, and for some reason, the lighting when it comes through there just gives you that nice look. So everybody posed there. So I just went down there and started posing, and Tom come over and did that. And like I said, it was nothing planned, nothing staged. I was just flexing my tricep, and Tom just went like that. So the photo was taken. I don't even know who took the photo, whether it was Artie Zeller or I'm not sure, because Artie Zeller got quite a few photos of me where I'll just be, he'd take a lot of Arnold just leaning on benches and stuff. And that cover when I was on Muscle and Fitness, I was leaning on a tricep bar. It was a black and white photo. I was just leaning on the bar in between sets, and he took the photo, and that became a cover. We tried to recreate it, but it's one of those things when you try to recreate it, you can't do it. It's just one of those things where you just catch something in the natural way, just resting or looking a certain way, and somebody snaps a picture. So that's the same sort of picture. That was just me posing, and Tom come over and did that type of look. And like I said, I see it everywhere.
Yeah, you're known for your arms, and just so everyone knows, this was before the era of Photoshop. So this is really, and I have to say that because I feel like you never know what's real anymore when you look at the internet. You're just like, what am I even looking at? So that photo is definitely a legendary photo. So let's talk about
But no, there's no Photoshop. See, back then I wasn't too bad. Now as I'm getting older and hit 52 this year, please, if people want to Photoshop me, go right ahead. Make me look young again. Make me look young. So
You're like, now it's allowed. Now you can,
yes,
now you can go for
now
it.
you can do it. Take out all my bad spots and that. So yes, go ahead.
Tell me about the gym culture back in the 90s. The good.
I sort of I just found it was better back then. Well, I started training when I was 12, 13, like 85, 86. And then I started competing when I was 13. I won my first 3 bodybuilding shows at 13. So
Are you serious?
I was
13?
yeah. And then when I was 14, I was competing against like grown men. So won my state title at 15 and Mr. Australia when I was 17. So
Oh my God.
I just got into it. I got into it to look like He-Man. That's the thing. I never got into it to be a bodybuilder. I never said I was going to be a pro bodybuilder. I just wanted to look like He-Man. And then when I started developing, some people just said, "Oh, there's a division you should try competing in," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And then it just went from there. But that's why so many people today are like, "I'm going to be pro. I'm going to be Mr. Olympia." I'm like, that's a big call. How about you just like I did what I did? If you love it, go to the gym, train, give it 100%, eat properly, get your rest in. And if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. If you've got the genetics to be a great bodybuilder, it's going to happen. You see it in the gym. You could have 2 mates who go to the gym. They could train exactly the same, eat a lot of food. One will grow like a weed. And people go, "We must be taking drugs because, they started training at the same time. But look at him compared to him." So if you've got the genetics for it, it's going to happen. You don't need to force it or pump all these drugs into your body because, if you don't have it genetically, yes, there are some people who don't have the best genetics, but still get there. They might not have the best genetics for body shape and that, but they still have good genetics for building muscle and everything. So, but if you don't have that, like I said, I know so many people in gyms who take steroids year after year after year, and you wouldn't even know they lifted a weight. So trust me, it's not the drugs that do it.
It doesn't do the work for you. So tell me about how, walk me into Gold's Venice in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Okay. And have you been to Gold's Venice anytime recently?
Yeah, I was there like it would have been a year ago probably now. Yeah. So, and then I was there a year before that when I got inducted into the Venice Beach Hall of Fame. So It was, back then it was like really good because you could go into the gym on any given day.
Yeah.
And you'd probably see 8 to 10 pros, whether it be Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, Paul Dillette, Jim Quinn. Like there were so many pros, and then you could go to the firehouse. And to me, it was like just the atmosphere because I guess having no social media, people weren't so petty and people weren't so opinionated. I just seemed to be more respectful, and people just were going in there to have fun and to train. But then sometimes there were a few egos in Gold. I'm not saying they were the pros, but just people in general. So I went down to World Gym and I met Joe Gold, and he reminded me so much of my grandfather. And down at World Gym, there was no music. He kept it that way. And Arnold would be there in the morning, Lou Ferrigno, Eddie Julia. Pretty much everyone you saw in Pumping Iron was there. And I just preferred that crowd because when I was younger, when I was 13, 14, I trained with guys who were in their 30s and 40s. So I ended up just training at World Gym the whole time after that. Majority of the time I was always at World Gym just because I liked that atmosphere of no music. Everyone got along. They were talking about the old days. Like, we sit there and talk to Arnold about the old days when they did Pumping Iron and that. And, we just put shit on each other, have fun. So, but now it's changed a lot. It's like even back then, you could go into the gym and you could help somebody, you could help them out with their training and give advice and that. But now, you try and help someone. Well, I read on here at such and such. And I was like, okay, everyone's an expert now, bro, science. When it annoys me because really when you look at bodybuilding or any type of training, whether you want to lose weight, gain weight, it's so basic. And everyone's trying to overcomplicate something that is just so basic. They're overthinking it rather than work their chest or their arm. They'll be like, I want to just work this part of my tricep here. I'm like, well, how are you going to work that without using the rest of your tricep? Just that one bit ain't going to work. So if you're doing at least 3 or 4 tricep exercises, that bit's going to grow. So if it doesn't grow, then you just don't have the genetics. It's like people to go, I want to get a peak on my bicep. It's like, if you have the genetics for a peak, that's a genetic thing. Some people have the longer bicep, some have the high peak bicep. You're not going to build one if you don't have the genetics to build one.
So do you think that it's become more complicated to do the right things in your fitness journey? Because back then, when there's no social media, there's no YouTube, there was no one to really follow. There was also not anyone to follow. There also wasn't the extra guidance. You couldn't really look anything up. So both scenarios kind of have different pros and cons. I would say that you could argue that now we have access to so much, content where you could look something up, you could see the proper way to do something, but then that also opens the door to having so much content of how not to do things right that someone might be following versus back in the day.
That's why I say it overcomplicates it, because back in the day, pretty much all we had were magazines.
Yeah.
Or you'd watch the biggest guy in the gym to see what he was doing.
Yeah.
And the thing was, people today are so lazy. People want to find that magic program, or, Lee, I've been training for 2 months and I've plateaued. I'm like, how can you plateau already? It's like, or you give them a program and after a week or two, can I change my program? It's like, I would look at a magazine or see someone training, go, oh, he's doing arm curls. Let me try that. Okay, that feels good. Or I'll go do dumbbell curls. It's all by trial and error. You'll find what works for your body. Whether it be, okay, I see in the magazine, this guy, if it had his diet for a contest or an off-season diet, you'd go try it and go, well, that's too many carbs. It's like everyone's thinking that these gurus or people on the internet have the answer, when that's why I get mad when people get mad at me, because I say, look, you don't really need a guru. If you've got a good training partner, someone that can turn up and push you, a second set of eyes, you're the one that's ultimately got to do it. Because if you go to a guru, like if you came to me and said, Lee, I want you to get me ready for a show, I'd be like, okay, well, I don't really know your body or anything, how food affects you, how supplements affect you. So I'd only say, well, here's a diet, try that, get back to me, let me know how you feel. Okay, let's take this out, put this in. And that's what they really do. And half these people are just experimenting with you until they find something that works. But if you've been doing it long enough, you should know that yourself. And that's why I said it's just so much easier to do it yourself. And it's like when I talk about the drug thing, some young kid will start a drug cycle, taking 4 different drugs. He's like, oh, these drugs are working good. I'm like, how do you know? You're taking 4 at once, maybe only 2 of them. And that's why I said, when I started back, I might have taken 1 drug, testosterone, for 6 weeks. And then I knew how that would make me feel. And then I'd stop that. Then maybe a month or 2 later, I might try Deca by itself. And then I'd know how that 1 drug made me feel. That way, if I was going to combine drugs, at least I'd combine drugs that I knew worked on my body and felt good, rather than people just throw in, oh, well, I read such and such did this and he does this. So it's just like, they go crazy trying. Like I said, back then too, it's like it's a long-term sport. It takes forever, bodybuilding, to build muscle. And like I said, nothing's ever going to beat hard work. Nothing's ever going to beat time. But everyone's looking for that quick fix overnight thing where it just doesn't happen.
You just reminded me of something I want to ask you, because this kind of like came and went. But, old school bodybuilding is, they call it like bro science, right? But to your point, it's like the least variables that you have in the equation, the more predictable something's going to be. Like if you have, like 5 foods to choose from, and you're reducing variables in the equation, you're going to see how that works, and you can add things in or take things out, and you can predict or problem solve based off of what you have. You start throwing more variables. So back in, I think it was like, I want to say it was like 2013, 14-ish, that, fitting your macros. So there was this new concept that came out where
I hated that word when it came out. When goes,
oh my gosh,
macros?
I didn't even say the whole thing out because I'm the same way, but it's like everything has macros. Even if you just have fish and chicken and broccoli and asparagus, you're eating macros. So some people would eat macros that, would have less variables, and some people would have more. And they say they're eating macros diet. I'm like, we're all eating a macros diet. So,
but my thing too. Sorry to cut you off, but I think it's just too, because we do have so much information.
Yeah,
it's like back in the day, you had one person that would come up to me at the gym and go, Lee, I got a question for you. What do you think I should do for my biceps? And I'll tell them. But then a day later, I go up to a guy named John. Hey, John, what do you think I should do for my biceps? It's like there's so much information now that, you can give someone a good diet that's going to work, but then they're like, well, I don't really like it. Let me just look. They want to a better diet. This is similar. Oh, wait a minute. This one here looks a bit similar too. It's just like there's so much information out there. That's why I said you just overcomplicating it. If you
Right.
stick to the basics when it comes to dieting, training, and that, you can't really go wrong. But everyone's trying to think, even today, you get a lot of people who fancy it up. So people go,
Yeah.
"Oh, this sounds scientific. They must really know what they're talking about." So yeah, that sounds really, because I've given people diets before. When I say, "Lee, can you do me up a diet? Can you do this?" And I give it to them, they go, "Oh, that's pretty basic. I thought it would have been more involved than that." I'm like, I said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "I can make up bullshit if you want," but I said, "But that's a basic thing." And even when it came to the drug cycle,
Yeah.
they go, "Oh, that's not very thing. That's like, I've done that before." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Then why
They
are you
want
asking me for help?" And I said, "There's no secret." They think, "Oh, you're a pro. You got this secret." I'm like, "There is no secret, you idiots. It's just hard work." It's like,
Well, and then I think that you would agree with this, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. That if you want, let's say you're really craving like a big ice cream sundae, or you're craving like a brownie or whatever. It's like, if I'm training for a contest, or, just trying to stay lean, which is basically me all the time, is, I want to be able to really enjoy that. So rather than try to integrate little bits of it into my world, I want to wait until I feel like I can just enjoy the whole entire serving of it and not stress out about having like a little bit of it mixed in with everything else. And that's just me personally, but when I'm getting ready for a show, I definitely don't want to have so many variables in the equation. It's way too complicated, and you can't problem solve. You can't figure out what's working and what's not, right?
And that's what I was just said, when you get ready for a diet, I just kept the basic. Breakfast was pretty much the same, whether it be oatmeal and a protein drink, or egg whites and a couple of whole eggs. And then after training would be a piece of steak and rice and maybe a whole egg, or chicken breast and rice, or potato. Pretty much the same
Right.
food every meal. That way, feeling good, you can maybe add maybe an extra cup of rice, or half a cup, or quarter of a cup, rather than,
Mhm.
even when it comes down to, if I'm having rice and chicken, and for this week I decide to add some sort of sauce, and you see your body change, and okay, the sauce is what
Yeah.
did that. So, if you keep it as basic as you can, you make least mistakes, and then it's easy to make changes as the diet goes along, or add something in, or take something out. You know what it was. But like I said, people just like, I give them diets, and they're like, "Well, can I do this now? Can I do that?" Or, well, they don't follow the diet, or you give them their first diet and they get it straight, and the first thing they go is, "Oh, when's my cheat day?" I'm like, "You
Yeah.
haven't even started the diet. You already want a cheat
Yeah.
day?" It's like, I'd have cheat days getting ready for shows, but I wouldn't have it until I was pretty much in contest shape. Because
Right. Yeah.
if I started a cheat day too early, I'd probably go off the diet and never go back on it. So I just saved it to once I was in shape. And once you're in shape and you have a cheat, people have a cheat meal. I just had the whole day. It
Yeah.
made no difference at all. Mentally, you feel bad because you're eating something
Mhm.
that you're not meant to be eating. But I'd have these things where, if I was dieting, I might eat 3,000 calories of good diet food.
Yeah.
And on my cheat day, I'd go out and have some pancakes or ice cream and that. By the end of the cheat day, I've probably had less calories than if I was dieting, because you've been eating so clean. As soon as you go to have fats and sugars, your stomach goes grrr.
You can't
And it's
have as
like,
much
oh,
as you
I'm
think you can
so
have.
bloated. I'll be sitting there bloated going, "Oh, fuck, the day's almost over. I've got to cram more food in somehow." So I'm trying to ram burgers in and stuff like that.
Well, so back to that era where, I think that the bodybuilding community, it was very small in the 90s. And then,
Mhm.
as divisions started kind of coming into the scene, you saw an influx in people starting to join the bodybuilding community. There's so many people. And I think that kind of lends itself to more types of people, more levels of people. And of course, what do people want to do in the mass? They want to find the easiest path to get to one point, right? Like, what's the easiest way for me to get to this crazy body? And that's why when the concept was sold to people that you can have Pop-Tarts and cookies and pizza and you can still get shredded like Lee Priest. It's like the most amazing scientific approach possible. Well, because it didn't work, that's why we don't hear about it anymore, because it didn't work. Like, people, basically the longevity has panned out, and the longitudinal study has made its way through, and now we're on the other side of that, and we're going, okay, it didn't work. It actually, I think that people will probably agree that by trying to manipulate a system like that, you are probably going to end up with more of an eating disorder.
Mhm. Yeah, I think too, it's like, it's like anything I tell people when people ask me about fat burners or the growth hormone does this and does that. You know, what's the best way? Should I take Cytomel to burn body fat? I said, look, these things can add the smallest,
Mhm.
you know, thing in your thing. I said, nothing's ever going to beat hard work and busting your ass doing
Right,
cardio. If you want to lose weight, get on a treadmill, go for a walk, do
right.
the Stairmaster. I said, no, you know, you can add little things to it that might assist, but nothing's ever going to beat the good
Well,
old hard work, you know. So,
yeah, but then also if you add exogenous things to your body's own mechanisms will suppress. So like
mhm,
if you're trying to burn fat and you incorporate something that's going to help and assist your body to burn fat, well then you're
mhm,
suppressing your body's own ability to do that. And that's why people notice like a tip off point when they introduce things into their body, then all of a sudden they
mhm.
need more and more of it. And it just stops working. I mean,
Well, sadly, I knew back in the 90s, I won't mention names, but there's a few fitness girls back then, even girls that did the Galaxy contest back in the day who were really big into the Cytomel, the thyroid drugs, and they'd take a lot of them. And sadly, when they came off their diets and stopped them, oof, and they had to pretty much go on T3 for the rest of their lives because they shut their own system down. So,
yeah, I mean that's the thing is I think that we have now influencers out in the
mm,
spotlight with lots of following, lots of hype, and they are doing all this kind of stuff. And the younger generation is looking at that and they're like, oh, I want to be like him.
yeah,
I want to be popular like him, or I want to look like him, or I want to be popular like her. I want to look like her. And that is something that wasn't even available in, I mean, it wasn't even available. When did YouTube first come out? The early 2000s, right?
okay. Well, even I remember back before Facebook, it was MySpace. So, it was
MySpace,
like,
yes.
you know, or it was just like all you had was like Get Big or bodybuilding.com had their,
Yeah.
you know, chat board type thing, message boards, and that people would go on there and discuss stuff. But
Oh,
even
that's
back then, you had
true.
all the haters. So the
Okay.
haters have been around forever. But I don't know. It's just crazy the way it's changed now. Like I said, with all these influencers out there, everyone wants to be noticed. And some people
Right.
think I'm being rude. Someone's like, I'm going to be just like you and be like this. I say, look, I said, look, if I inspire you, that's great. But how about you just be the best? How about you just be the best you? Don't
Yeah.
try and be anybody else. Don't try and, you know, if you look at someone and go, oh, okay, I like to be like him, that's great. But be
Yeah.
the best version of you. He inspires you to look a certain way. Then go bust your ass, but be the best you. Who knows? You might be better than that person if you give it everything. But, you know,
Yeah.
I get into arguments with people when they say stuff. I get into arguments still about phones in gyms. And, you know, I said, for the average person,
I wanted to
yeah,
talk
have your
about that.
phone, do. But I said, if you're a competitive bodybuilder and you want to be one of the best in the world,
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear the shit about I take it for music. Like I said, I trained in World Gym, never music in there for 9 years. Even if I do go to gym with music, I couldn't even tell you what song's on because I'm just so focused on the training. That's background noise. So I see young kids now, they got their big ear
Yeah.
warmer fucking headphones on. I'm like, idiot. And then it like, but they're looking, they'll be going through, and I can see them bouncing their head. They've got to find the right song to motivate them to go do some lift. But it's like, if you're looking for a song, you can't tell me that all of a sudden, in between sets, it's like, oh, I got 5 messages. You're
Oh
going to
my,
look at the message, and then your whole. They said you can't be that focused. Now you
Lee,
can
I
start
have to
reading the message.
say, hang on. I have to tell you that majority of people do that. Okay, and I'm not trying to like, what do they call it, like a pick me girl. I'm not trying to be like that, but I will say I don't have my phone at all when I'm doing at the gym until the very end. After I'm done with my
Mm-hmm.
workout, if I want to film something for my Instagram, I'll like have my whole workout totally done, and then
Yeah,
I'll do a set of something I did in my workout.
yeah.
With that
And
said,
that's
though,
exactly what I said to people. I said that. I said, listen, if you're training, go do your workout. If you're
you work
doing
out
legs, go train hard, do legs. But then at the end,
at the end.
then you can go back and take a photo or something on a leg press or do whatever. But while you're in it, you got to be in it. You got to have that mind muscle connection. A phone is a total distraction. And I don't care what they say for music. You're changing songs as the distraction. You see, you got a message. You might read the message. It might piss you off. Now your whole train of thought is
Yeah.
gone. Yes, you have your phone while you're doing cardio, just to watch YouTube or do whatever. But if you want to be good at something, look at any other sport. I've seen you watch documentaries on people train, whether it be a boxer or a gymnast, and that they don't do like a couple of little things. You go, wait a minute, let me just go check my phone. Or if Mike Tyson was sparring back in the day, or so, hold on, let me just go over here in the corner and I've just got to check my phone for a minute. Hold on. It's like, but in the gym, everyone just sits there. And you know what it's like. You watch them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll start watching something, or even if you're at home on your phone, I'll just check something quickly. And before you know it, 20 minutes goes past. In the gym, minutes go by because you just get stuck. I watch people sitting on a bench just scroll, and I'm like, there's one guy once who was scrolling. I'd done like almost 3 exercises and he'd only done 2 sets. I'm just like, what's the point,
So that's one thing that people do. There's another thing that people do with their phone, which is a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about next. We talked about this a little bit before, but this is another thing that people do is they'll record themselves, okay, and then they say like stitch incoming, and they make it look like they're such a victim. Here's the thing about this that is so funny to me, okay? I find this so funny, and tell me if you agree with this. It's like you're recording yourself so that you can get views and followers and likes from an angle that is, I mean, arguably, showing off your best assets or whatever.
Only fans angles, yes.
Right? And so when you catch someone looking at you in real life, what? I mean,
that's what I don't get, because like you said, they're taking video and photos to put on Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of them, some do have OnlyFans. So it's like maybe they get upset that guys are looking without paying, but it's like you're going to post it for who knows who's going to see it, but you get upset because somebody looks over at what you're doing. And trust me, I've seen girls in the gyms and I might look over quickly. I'm not thinking you're hot. I'm probably thinking you look like a fucking whore. Put some clothes on. It's like, the smallest top on. It's like, that top, it says it's a sports bra. It's a bra, sports bra. It's not a fucking top. So it's like half your boobs are hanging out.
right.
If I was to wear, or if any guy walked, because half the girls have all these tiny shirts on there, their glutes are hanging out. You can see the camel toe. You can see everything. I'm like, and then if anyone looks, imagine guys, if we just wore tights with no underwear. Oh, he's circumcised. He's not circumcised. Or he's like this. Imagine us laying on the bench. You'd naturally just look. You'd be like, oh, it's like, but yet girls wear these clothing where you can see everything, and then they get offended. And look, I agree. You should be able to wear what you want when you want, but in the society we live in, if you're a pretty girl or whatever, and you're dressed sexy, you generally dress that way to get looked at. Not because you want to be looked at, but it's like sometimes when girls go out to bars and they're like, "Oh, look at this guy staring at me. He's a pig." It's like, wait a minute, you got the shortest skirt on, your boobs are hanging out. You're going into an environment where people are doing drugs, they're drinking, they're drunk. Of course, they're going to look, and like I said, so you should be able to wear what you want in a perfect world, but you got to remember, you got to dress for environments when you go in places, because you're going to get unwanted attention. It's like I can't complain that everywhere I go, look at them staring at me because I got tattoos or something like that. I got tattoos. I have to expect that people are going to look. I can't get upset going, "Oh, why are you looking at my fucking face for?" Blah, blah, blah. It's like, because you got a tattoo on. It's like, well, why are you looking at me? Well, fucking half your tits are hanging out, and I can see what you had for breakfast. It's like, I can see your string. I can see the string on your tampon, your pants are that tight. And that's the way it is. And then they get offended. It's like, come on.
I mean, you know what? Or to be in denial that you don't want any like male attention whatsoever. I mean, if you're attractive and you want to dress nice and you get a little attention from men.
It's selective male attention.
Be honest about it. You are enjoying it a little bit, right?
Yeah, we had a bar. There's a bar somewhere here in Australia now. If you stare longer than a couple of seconds, it's considered like some sort of, not assault, but some sort of, where they can get to leave. But it's like, if a girl's gone into a bar, generally people go to meet people sometimes if they're single, so they try to look their best, because that's how you attract people, whether it be a guy or a girl. So people are going to look. You're not going to go no makeup in your fucking pajamas and just go, "Hey, right, this is how I look in the morning when I wake up." So they get done up deliberately, so they can almost like a peacock trying to attract the opposite sex.
I agree.
But then it's just selective. It's like it could be poor Bob down the end of the bar who doesn't really have a job yet. You know, his
on,
hair's
Bob.
not done, hasn't shaved. So he's looking at this beautiful girl
Bob
and she's
can't
like,
look.
what are you looking at me for? You this and that. But now, if the
Yeah.
good looking guy who she sees get out the Ferrari pulls up and looks at her, she's like, oh, look a bit closer. It's like, I keep looking. It's like, I'm going to catch this guy. So
She's
they
like,
can be selective on who they want to catch and who they don't. So if you're a loser, it's like, don't stare at me. But if they know, oh, he's pretty wealthy and he's got money and I've heard about him. Oh yeah, that's a good catch, that one. So even if I get pregnant to him, he'll be paying my bills for the next 18 years, child support. So yeah. So women can be conniving on who they want to look at them and not. But like I said, if you're going to dress like that in the gym, people, and the thing is too, sometimes people, it's not even a stare. They could be looking, go, okay, whatever. Because you're looking in between a set, you're just looking around. It's not like you're just doing whatever. Men do it, women do it. I actually find sometimes women are more catty. I see women staring at other women more than the guys stare at women. But like I said, some of these girls I see in the gym, I might look over at them and she might look at me and go, oh, look at him. He thinks I'm hot. I'm like, no, I'm looking at you thinking, you're a dumb slut. Go put some fucking clothes on. Where's your parents? That's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at you. It's not, if you could read my mind, trust me, you wouldn't be upset that I'm looking. You'd be upset from what I'm thinking about. Just it's like someone's got daddy issues. You need to go home and sort it out with your father.
Okay, but two things are going on. Okay, number one is what you're talking about. Okay, the first one is women and men, maybe, but we're talking specifically about women right now, are like pretending to not want this attention when it's somebody that they're not interested in, right? Okay, but the second thing that's happening, okay, is now we're in this new era, which we were talking about before, where people are wanting the likes and the views, and they may go out of their way to be obnoxious about, like, oh my God, like, look at all this attention I'm getting. And they're trying to feed that pipeline of like likes and views and attention. Here's something that I thought was so crazy, and you might have seen this, but it was like this girl was filming this guy, okay, and talking about how he was staring at women, but she herself was filming him so that she can get likes and views and attention and get people to comment about this guy on her page. You know what I mean?
And the thing is too, is he staring, or like I said, if he's in between sets, you just look around the gym, you might just look over and go, okay, what's she doing? What exercise? Or what's he doing? It's like, you're just naturally curious people. You look around, you people watch, whether it be in a shopping center, whether it be in a park, you look around, but you're not thinking, like, people that think that have too much, tickets on themselves, because it's like, he might be looking around. Yes, you might look over and see, oh, she's an attractive girl or this and that. But like you said, a lot of girls, when they go out, I've seen them in the gym. I've seen some come into the gym where they're just naturally pretty. But then I've seen some come into the gym where, like, fuck me, Dad, how long did it take you to get ready for the gym? Your hair's done, your makeup's done perfect. I'm like, hey, it's like you're almost too scared to sweat because you put so much time in your appearance. And then this whole thing of, you could wear a T-shirt if you wanted to cover your ass and the camel toe. But this thing lately where girls tuck the back of their T-shirt up in their bra so their ass is more exposed. I'm like, you're actually showing your ass. You got your T-shirt hanging down, but they're all tying it and not up the back.
I do
what's
that.
This for? So often, what is that for? Why
but
do
I
people do that?
Because it bothers me when it's like touching my back and my butt, and I actually want to get some air flow in my lower back. But here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, if for whatever reason, like, somebody were like to look at me or whatever, that's okay with me. I mean, I'm not like, I'm trying to like be comfortable working out, and if I'm in really good shape and I'm working really hard on my physique, I've had people that come up to me and they like compliment me or whatever. And I'm like, thank you. I'm working really hard on my physique. And if you notice it, and I don't go out of my way to like hang myself out or whatever, but if somebody,
you mean you don't go into the middle of the gym and just start hip thrusting?
No, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. I don't wear a tube top to work out. I'm comfortably working out, but if somebody were to notice, my physique that I work hard for, I would be flattered. I think that most people,
I think most people do look just to say, okay, she looks great. She's training hard. Look, there's a big difference to just admiring someone, a complimentary type look. But I'd say you don't see it often, but of course you might get the one creeper who's going to be, and just staring at, but they're
Yeah.
few and far between. Like you watch
But
these videos, you think every guy in the gym's like this perverted type of, you know, just guy ready to jump out the bushes with his coat on and flash or something. It's like, it's like people just look around. Girls look around the gym. Men
yeah.
look around the gym. It's like, I'm sure, I'm surprised you haven't started seeing, you know, maybe because of, you know, the pronouns and the way the world's going. When we're going to start, I'm going to start doing videos. Look at that guy looking at me. I could do videos. Look at him staring at me. Why is that man looking at me for? Is he gay or does he just like my biceps? Why? What is it? Why is he now? He's following me to the bathroom. It's like, come on. It's like, you know, people, men look at men, women look at women. It's like,
You should have the freedom to look for sure. And, you know, I can't even imagine recording someone and posting it to my social media because I just feel like by default, that makes you look like the ass. I feel like if you're trying to show that somebody else is having some behavior pattern that you may think is creepy or whatever, like that's really like putting that person out there in such a mean way, exposing them to people that are obviously going to support you and talk crap about that person. I just feel like that's just overall, that's just such a shitty thing to do, you know? Just
there should be something against it. Like if you do that in the gym, you should be like removed from the gym, because I know even back when, in the early 90s or whenever, we used to do those Battle for the Olympia videos, or if Muscle and Fitness, Lex, MD, any photo shoot we did in the gym or any video footage we took, if you're in the background, we had to get you to sign a release saying you're in the video, the background.
Yeah,
And if you didn't sign
that
release, if you didn't sign the release, we could not use that footage because we'd be using the footage of you without your permission. And I don't know why that isn't still happening today, because it's actually against the law to film someone without their permission and then go post it for whatever. Yes, it's a public place and that, I understand, like if you're out in the park, but it must have to do with maybe if you're doing a video to make money from, because look, if you're outside in the world in the park and you're filming your friend, there's people in the background, you put it online, you're not making money from it. But I think when you're doing photo shoots that are going to be in magazines or video type stuff, which a lot of these people are doing, they're making content to make money. If someone's in the background, you had to get a model release from them for being in the background, or you'd have to blur their face out or just cut that bit out altogether.
This is a really gray area right now. I think that there's a lot of talk about this right now because technically you should be getting released. Most people that are in these videos don't even know they are. You know, there's so many people floating around in videos that they have no idea. Because
that can be dangerous too, because look, I don't want to say witness protection, but let's just say you're an abused woman and you're move state, you move somewhere. I know there's different places here to take abused women and put them in different locations. So let's just say you got this toxic relationship you come out of with an abusive husband, boyfriend who stalked you. You've moved somewhere out of the blue. You can say, like in movies, someone's filming someone in the gym and then this creep goes, wait a minute, that's my ex in that gym there. It's like, so you're going to put people in dangerous situations who could be not wanting to be seen. They could be in hiding from ex-spouses or anything like that, or even hiding from the law. And the cops go, hey, wait a minute, we see him. So it's like, you know, you got to be careful on what you do and think about other people's privacy, because they might not want to be in it. And like I said, they could be, as I said, hiding from someone who could be after them, who's, you know, out to do harm to them and things like that. So
it's actually the opposite. People will film, they'll bring their tripod and they'll film, and they get mad if people walk in front of their camera. Like, didn't you see I was filming? I'm like, I didn't actually see that you were filming. I'm trying to work out. I mean, I'm sorry, you know, or like I had actually, this was crazy. And tell me if you have an experience like this. I had someone actually ask me if I can move to a different machine because I was on a machine that was in their camera view and they wanted a clearer view for their, whatever they were filming. And I'm like, no, this is the machine I want to use. It was nuts, you know. I usually keep
you should have said, no, I'm gonna sit here in the back of your video to give your video more substance. You might get more views with me in it. So I'll just stay here. But the thing is though, come back at a different time. Come back when the gym's not busy. I know photographers sometimes hated me because yes, I'm a pro bodybuilder. I go on stage with my clothes off, but I never trained in a tank top unless I was doing a photo shoot. I'd never take my shirt off at the gym unless I was doing a photo shoot or videos. So sometimes if a photographer said, Lee, I got to meet you at a gym at this time, if the gym was too busy and they said, Lee, we've got to take your shirt off, I'd be like, I'm not doing it. We'll have to do it another day or find another gym. They get mad at me because I just didn't like being stared at or like doing that type of thing in busy gyms. I'd always do it early in the morning when there's no one around, because to this day, I've said it before on other podcasts, I've never asked somebody how many sets they got. Even if I can see it's an idiot watching YouTube, I won't go over. I'll be like, you know what, I'll go do something else. Because this day and age, if you ask somebody, you're the bad guy if you go and ask them. Because, you know, back when I was competing, I'd be like, okay, I want to do that machine. Okay, but he's on it or this lady's on it. My friend's like, yeah, but you're getting ready for the Olympia. I'm like, so what? I said, she maybe wants to lose 20 pounds. That's just as important to her as me getting ready for the Olympia. So why should I kick her off the machine? So I think sometimes people, I know some people just think, I think they're very important. They're more important than what they really are. And some of these people too, I might laugh because I know, like when Joey Swole does those videos and stuff, and the people he puts up there, I'll go check out their page, and they might only have 300 followers, but they're recording every workout they're doing. And so I'm thinking, who the hell's watching this? And then half of them do have OnlyFans pages, so it's more for the OnlyFans. It's like certain things like that. You can set up a little room at home or get some weights at home to demonstrate exercises if you're that into it. But if you are going to go to a gym, find out when it's not peak hours, it's not peak time and stuff like that, because you could go on a weekend, certain times where there's hardly nobody there. If you want to do a couple of different exercises, different body parts, film all your content there. Take a couple of changes of outfits so it can look like a different day. Don't try and come 5 p.m. at night when everyone comes after work and you're trying to set up a tripod and stuff like that. It's like, I sometimes do photo shoots. We do the whole body. I'd say, let's just do it in one day. And I'll bring 4 different pair of shorts, 4 different tops. I'll do one body part. We'll take an hour break. I'll eat. Then we'll do the other body part. Because the gym's empty, let's just knock it out now. And then you could run those videos or photos for the next month or so. And it looks like, oh, he's doing another workout today, but it's the same day. So,
well, 2 things. Number one is you just gave the solution for anybody who doesn't want to show off their physique or doesn't want anyone to stare. You don't take your shirt off. There you go. Problem solved, right? That's what you do. If you don't want to be looked at, then you cover up, right? Okay, so that was cool. So we solved that problem. Check. Okay, so
it's like the ones that do these too. It's like the ones that are doing these videos. I've noticed a lot. Back in the day, it was always black. Girls would wear the black tights and this and that, so sort of blend in. Now it's like these hot pink booty shorts and the hot pink thing. So you walk into a gym.
That would be me.
I've seen you in hot pink, but it's like you say, boom, you see it straight away. And if someone's got a good body, now the hot pink and the body's going to draw your attention even more. So you're naturally going to look over that way. It's like, that's why when people here work outside, they wear high vis clothes so they can be seen. So if you're wearing like high bright colors.
Wait a minute. No, actually, I'm going to correct you. For me personally, whenever I wear black tights or like dark colors, I feel like it changes my mood. Like I go to the gym and I just kind of feel like when I wear bright colors, I feel just alive and I feel energized.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying the girls that wear the bright colors, and you can't get mad if somebody looks, because the bright color stands out like a beacon. So people are going, look, so it's like,
I'm calling myself
these girls half these girls who are getting looked at are wearing bright colors. So if you're looking around the gym and something bright, so you're like, oh, it just catches your eye. It's like, okay, it's like maybe they're just going, wow, that's very bright. You know,
we're aware. Don't like girls out there, women out there, don't pretend like you're not aware. Okay. But for me, it really is. It's my mood. And if, for whatever reason that, brightens someone else's day, then so be it. Right. So another thing is, you're talking about, people. Well, I wanted to bring up, when it comes to filming too, it's not just people coming on the gym floor, like filming themselves or, being on their phone, listening to the music. Another thing, and I want to know what your thoughts are on this. I think I've asked you this before, but I'm asking you again. Like, one pet peeve of mine is like when I want to use a machine and I see somebody, they're on their phone, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I go up and I need to use that machine. Right. And I don't want to be rude, but I want them to know that I'm waiting. So I'll go up and I'll say, hey, I was just wondering, how many sets you have left. because then at least they know. But then here's what bugs me is they'll say, oh, I've got one set left. And they go back to their phone. I'm like, wait a minute, you know I'm waiting now. So get to it. So anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
That's why I never ask it. I've never asked, even if they are on their phone, I just look at it because no matter what you do, it's like, I just think it like, if I want that machine and they're on it, I'm thinking I can go do something else. If it's a fly machine, I'll go do dumbbell flies instead. Because half the time if I'm going to do a machine, I want it just because I'm being lazy and don't want to do the free weight version. So, but as soon as that's why I said, as soon as I ask somebody, I'm the bad guy. It's like,
I'm disappointed in you. I'm just kidding.
I just look over their shoulder, see what they're watching. Some of them are just watching the dumbest shit on TikTok or YouTube. I'm like, but then I look at them and I'm thinking, well, you need the machine more than me, so you stay on it. I'll go do something else.
You need it more. You need it as a bench more than I do.
But like I said, they're not really there to train, half those people. They're just there to, I don't know why they're there, because they'll be the same ones that go, I'm not really progressing. Well, I'm like, well, you're taking 10 minutes between sets. Your mind's not really in it. You do your set and you're more quick to look what's on your phone. You're more interested in your phone than you are the actual workout. And I've spoke to a lot of people who used to take their phones to the gym and like, oh, Lee, I listened to you and now I don't. They reckon they're having the best workouts because they're focused just on the workout and what they're doing. And really, look, unless you're a doctor on call for a heart surgeon or something, you don't need to be on your phone 24/7. If you can't go an hour and a half of just having some good quality me time in the gym, or maybe even if you're not in the gym, just going for a walk through a park, enjoy the park, the birds, just the sound around you, get off the social media for an hour, just to detox, or just, just live a normal life, talk to people, smile at someone, say hello, rather than everyone walking around looking at their phones. Because I laugh. I've been on plane flights that go for maybe an hour. And as soon as the plane lands, like, everyone's got to get to their phone. All you hear is ding, ding, fucking every notification's fucking going. Thinking, oh my God, what the fuck did we miss in 1 hour, people? What happened? Quick, let's all. It's like people are just so fucking nuts with all this bullshit on their phones. They're not really living in the real world. Everything's like in their phones. It's like, how about you just look up and look at people in the eye and say good morning, and just.
I mean, this is most people though, I mean, right now I feel like a lot of people feel like they're constantly falling behind. I feel this, to be honest. I feel like it's so hard to keep up with everything, right? We're just like inundated with so much stuff. So many people are doing so many things, and like you feel like you're going to fall behind in this world if you're not keeping up with it all. You don't worry about that at all? Like at all?
No, I just be myself. My friends hate it. I could probably over 10 years, I've never had one notification turned on my phone. My phone's on silent. I don't hear it. I don't hear it ring. I don't hear nothing, because I've come to the conclusion I control my phone. It doesn't control me. If I want to go look at it and see who's called, I might check it every 2 hours. I'll have like 2 missed calls, 3 missed calls, a couple of text messages, and then but I've got friends who their phone's there. Ding, ding. Oh, hold on. What's that notification? Ding, ding. Oh, let me check again. It's like they got to check every notification. They got to every text message they got to reply to, because I get the friends that send me a text message. How you going, Lee? And I might be out at a car show or washing the car or walking the dogs. I'll get home. How you going, Lee? Lee, are you okay? Lee, have I done something wrong? Lee, why have you not replied? Because Lee has a fucking life and he's out doing something. I'll get back to you when I get home.
I'm going to do that to you.
Everyone wants everything instant. They want it instant. Like, if I send you a message, you've got to reply straight away to me. It's like, I'll reply to you. That's back in the old days. You'd call someone and leave a message on their answering machine, and you wouldn't get a reply that they got home that afternoon, or even before then. You'd have a thing where you had a pen and paper. You'd have to write a fucking letter to somebody and wait for the post to come. Or you had a pager. You didn't even have a text. You couldn't text message. You'd have a little pager, and it would go beep, beep. But there's a phone number. Now I've got to find a payphone to call this number to see who it is. So it's like people now just want everything so quick and instantly that if you don't reply straight away, and I find it bad too, whether it be bosses and workers too, because we're all so connected. People are just aren't getting enough quality time with friends, family, or they're not having that break, because some people come home from work and they're still checking emails. They're still doing this on their phones. It's like you need to, whether it be school, whether it be work, whatever, You need to have, this is work time, or this is gym time, and this can be phone time, but you got to have time where you just be yourself and get away from all the technology and just, you know, how many times you see families now all on their phone having dinner? They're out in the park having a picnic on their phones. It's like everything's just like, you don't have to be connected 24/7. You know, you got to sort of just unwind a bit and just relax. And, you know, just, I see people, they lose their phone, you'd swear to God they just lost a limb. It's like, oh my God, I can't find my phone. It's like, oh, it's like, who cares? I'd be happy to lose my phone, you know?
Right? Be in the moment.
It's true. You got to, because so many people just like, when I'm out walking, I'll take my phone, but it's like, in case there's a nice sunrise, I'll take a photo of it and post it and stuff. But generally, I walk past people, I'm like, good morning. Half the time you say good morning, they're like, what'd you say to me? It's like, everyone's just walking around. They'll be walking their dog. If I walk my dog, I'll be playing with my dogs, talking to my dogs. People are just walking their dog on their phone, not even paying attention to the dog. It's like, and then you see kids in the park, they'll be on the swing and his mum or dad over here. Next thing they look, oh, where's Johnny gone? Or he's halfway across the park. You've been too busy on your phone. Your kids have wandered off. And like, people are just like, even when we used to go driving when I was younger, I look in cars now, mum or dad's driving. Well, they say dad's driving, mum's on her phone, kids in the back are on their phone. Like when we used to go drive, we'd be playing games. I spy with my little eye, or making up names on number plates. Like you spoke, you'd ask questions. But now everyone just, and I've said really now, if you're under, say, 15, 16, you don't need a smartphone. Give your kid, if he's under 13, a phone that just can call and text for emergencies in case they need help or something, or they need to get in contact with mum and dad. But you got 13 kids, 10, 11, 12 on like the internet 24/7. It's like, I remember when I was young, I found a Playboy under my stepdad's bed. I was like, oh my God, look at women. It's like, oh, look at the boobs and bush, you know. Bush was like, you know, in case you're wondering, young guys, bush was hair down there. You very rarely see it today. It's like seeing a UFO. You don't see it. It's like you hear about it, but you don't see it. But it used to be this hair that would grow down there, but
oh my God,
it's gone. It's a thing of the past. But I'd see that and be like, oh my God. But now, what young kids can see online 24/7, all these porn sites, so I hear, and all the categories in these porn sites that you never hear of. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know. Like, so it's just, so it's like, if kids want to be on the internet under a certain age, 13, do it at home on a computer where the parents can monitor it. But look at them now, they go to bed, you know, they're saying kids' performances at school and college are down. They go to bed and they're still on their phone in bed doing this stuff. They're just not getting any rest. Their mind's just constantly going with, you know, face it, half the time it's garbage. Yes, you can find a lot of good stuff to watch on YouTube and learn stuff. Because when we were younger, we had like the encyclopedias. I'd go to encyclopedia to look something up. But now you can do it online. But I see one girl once, I was sitting, I think I was at an airport, and she was sitting beside me. She was on TikTok. And I was looking over and she's just scrolling. It was just like, for 10 minutes, she's just watching people go. I'm thinking, the shit people watching, just like they're dumbing us down. And I said, that must be the greatest joke ever when they call these smartphones, because they're really making us dumb. I remember when I'd go to school, I'd have 6 or 7 mates. I could go home and go, I'm going to call Sean. I'd go, oh, actually, it was this way. Had the old dial. Had to dial a number before we got the push button phone. Private phone call. I'd have to stretch that cord around the corner so no one could hear me. Yeah, but it's like, I could remember 10, 12 numbers off the top of my head. I go places now and they go, oh, we need to put down next of kin. So I put down my wife. What's her number? I'm like, I don't know. Hold on, let me look it up. It's like, we don't even remember shit anymore. It's like, they call them smartphones, but they're dumbing us down.
They're dumbing us down. I know.
Yeah, we don't retain any information in their own heads. It's like, well, if I want that information, hey Siri, what's such and such? It's like, we're just becoming like these robots where
it's impossible to fix it.
People worry about. Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, people need to live in the real world and just experience life a bit more rather than just everything. Look what they got online. Everyone's comparing himself to everyone else. You know, half the shit online's fake. Not everyone's perfect like you see online. Everyone's got issues and problems. No, they make out like, look at my wonderful life and that. But, you know, then I put up some motivational quote. It's like, no, fuck off and go jump off the cliff. It's like, yeah, you're just full of shit. It's like,
that's what I don't know, I don't want to say the word motivate because that's not a good word to use, but that's what I think influences people to do all kinds of weird things because they see this person doing this crazy lifestyle and then they go, okay, well I want to be famous like that person. I want to look like that person. And to your point, it's like so much of it is fake even. I mean, people are looking up to something, being influenced by something that's not even real. I mean, down to, we talked about this before, but I mean, people are using, filters. And I mean, so I host a show with Linda Murray. Linda does not understand filters. She thinks that filters is like finding the right lighting. So she thinks she's guilty of using filters. She goes, oh, I'm guilty of that. No, you don't understand. It's not about finding the right lighting. People are changing their features on their face. And it's like,
I can see like a perfect skin, but in real life they might have a few maybe little pimple marks, little acne scars and that. Because I used to go walking and my friend, he'd be like, oh, that's a friend of mine. She's on Instagram and that. I'll show you her picture. He'd show me. And I'm like, that was the same girl that walked past. I'm like, I've seen those videos. My wife watches them where I'm like, that's got to be weird. Because I'll show you a girl just looks, she might be naturally pretty or just like, I wouldn't say plain because no one's plain. Everyone's pretty in their own way, but she'll look a certain way. And then I think she starts putting the foundation on, then the lipstick and then the lashes and this. I'm thinking, that just looks like two different people now. I wouldn't even know it's the same person once they go through the makeup and the hair. You're like, it'd be like, if you saw someone in real life or someone sent you a picture and you go on a blind date and you're waiting to see them in person, you'd be like, then they come over, you'd be like, wait a minute. It doesn't quite look like Well,
I mean, to me, I just feel like, changing the exact, like the way that you look, it's like, it's sad because, we see something and we want to look like that or whatever. I get that, and we have insecurities and all of us do. But if it doesn't look like you, that means that you go somewhere and someone won't even recognize you. They're following you. So don't you want to be you? Like, that's my thing. Like, I just go like, don't you want to look like you? I mean, I get if, we all have insecurities. We all want to change things about ourselves. But at the same time, you want to like walk into a room and somebody know that that's you. And that's the thing that's mind boggling to me is like the idea that you could walk into a room and people don't even know that that is you. I know that sounds so stupid and remedial to say, but that's my like mind boggler as it's not.
Well, I think it's like in anything, whether it be looks or even just personalities and how people are. I think this day and age, people are too scared to be themselves. And I've been myself from day one. I never followed trends when it came to anything in schools or people wear certain type of clothing. Oh, Lee, you got to wear this brand of clothing. I'm like, fuck off. I'll wear $5 Kmart T-shirts. I don't give a fuck about Nike or whatever the latest shoes are. The shoes I got on now, I've had them for 5 years. I always wear them when I'm traveling because they're worn in, but they're faded.
Show the shoes.
They're like the rubber's coming off them.
Oh, God. Those are cool. Those are lifting shoes.
They're actually like LeBron ones.
Those are cool.
They were called soldiers, but like they're about 5 or 6 years old. I've had to glue the rubber back on a few times. But it's like when I wear these some places, I see people look at my shoes and go, they're thinking, well, is Lee hard up for money? I'm thinking, no, they're comfortable. I don't give a shit how they look. They're comfortable. I've only got like 4 or 5 different pair of shoes. I don't collect shoes. I don't go, well, I got the latest Jordans or I got the latest this. And I have 2 pair of shoes that are probably brand new. I haven't worn them just because I like my old ones. So when I wear these places, seminar, people look at my shoes. Well, Lee must be hard up. He's wearing shoes that are falling apart.
I've never
been into that. And like, when it comes to being yourself, what's that?
I got to point something out. Okay. I have to call you out on something really quick. You sell your trophies, but you don't sell your shoes, which I think people would probably buy those shoes, by the way. I think we just had somebody say people would buy those. People are saying in the comments that you could probably get a lot of money for those shoes.
I still got like a bag full of my old posing trunks. I got about 30 pair of posing trunks.
What is this person talking about? Lee, like on the one-nighters, wake up, look at her, dear God, makeup off and run fast. Oh God. I was like, what?
The face comes off on the pillow. That's like,
Oh my gosh, that's
But it's
funny.
like, but I think people just need their, what I said, even their personalities. I
Yeah.
prefer people like with me, you either like me or you don't. I don't change to fit into a group. It's like you get so many people who will act a certain way with one group of people, but then they go to this group, they'll act a certain way to fit in with that group. I like, just be yourself. If the people don't like you for who you are, they're not
Mhm.
worth being around or knowing. It's just like, just be you, and the right people will be attracted to you for being you. Because I couldn't
Yep.
imagine anything worse than having to be not yourself to fit in, just have people
Right.
like you, and then go somewhere else. And then it's like too, where I could be somewhere and I might have a friend who I really like. I'll go somewhere and these people are like, oh, we don't like him, Lee. Here's this, here's that. I'm like, well, I don't have a problem if he's done nothing to me. So just
Yeah.
because you don't like it, but there are people who'll be like, oh, Lee's my friend. Oh, yeah, they get on good with me, but then I'll go somewhere. Oh, we don't like that Lee Priest. And then they'll be like, yeah, I don't like him either. He's a dickhead. But yet when they're alone with me, they're my best friends. So I just don't like people who are fake and two-faced. It's like, just be yourself.
Um, so if you would like, I would love to have you back because we are actually at the end here, and I want to talk to you about so much more. You
I
just
can take all my filters off. There we go.
take your
Thank
filters
God.
off. Next time it's raw, real, no filters. This is all filters. No, I'm kidding. No, but
I'll take my makeup off. Hold on, try rub
I
this
know
shit off
yours is
my face.
permanently on your face. I don't care about makeup, and you really all tatted up. But you know what, Lee, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Such a fun guest. We still have so much more to talk about. So I would love to open the conversation more with you. Are there any
Sure.
final words that you want to leave for your fans and for the guests here at WOLFpak?
Well, mainly, I said it's just with bodybuilding or whatever, just enjoy it. Don't get caught up what everyone else is doing. Find out what works for you, but just have fun and enjoy it, type thing. And the main thing is too, when I tell people, live in the moment. If you want to be a bodybuilder, yes, I was guilty of it when I was young. I threw everything into it. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do this. I missed out on so much family time, and yeah,
Yeah.
we make sacrifice, but it doesn't have to be as hard as we think, because I'd get asked to go somewhere. No, I can't do that. I've got to sit home and be miserable because I'm getting ready for a show. So as long as you're doing your training fine, it's like you got to have a life too. And I always tell people, when it comes to their phone, we always seem to ignore the ones who are closest to us. I've got hundreds of thousands of followers and likes and haters and that. And I'm guilty of it. I'll find myself sometimes I'll sit there for an hour just going back, having fun with them, because I enjoy the entertainment.
I know
I'll
you
write shit to them. I write shit back to them, but then I think to myself, it's probably been 3 days. I haven't even texted my mother, but I'm texting shit to people I don't even know. So I
do.
always tell
Self-aware.
people, if you got time to text and write shit to other people, maybe first just write to people who you care about, whether it be friends, family. Just ask them how they're doing. Just say thinking of you, because we're guilty of it. We'll sit there and argue and talk to people we don't even know, who really don't mean anything to us. But the ones who do mean stuff to us, we seem to ignore them the most. So
What a
don't
great
forget about them.
self-aware final thought.
It's almost like Sally Jesse Raphael, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a good
People
one.
like who?
Yeah,
People like, who's Sally
I
Jesse
know who
Raphael?
that was a great Sally Jesse Raphael. I mean, I think a great message. Message. Reach out to the people you love before you go back and forth.
Yeah, and even if you don't know them, like I said, like I met that policeman I met a few of them when I was in Nashville on the weekend, but there's this one guy. I went for a walk and I was just like, and then he yelled out, oh, yeah, I'm thinking I turned around. It's like a sheriff type guy. I think, oh, fuck, what did I do? Jaywalk? And then he come over, he started talking to me. But this guy was just so bubbly. He said he met me, or he knew of me because he used to watch Rich Piana's videos, and then he learnt of me. But he was just so happy and joyful. He made me feel good. And that's why I tell people, we're so into our phones. Just if you're out walking, just a simple smile saying hello to someone can change their whole day. So it's just
Right?
easy to do. It doesn't cost anything, just to be nice or polite and just smile and say hello to someone. Even sometimes you're going to get the arsehole be like, nah, doesn't mean their actions have to change your mood. So just be happy. There's always someone in a worse off position. Like I got friends who are like, oh, I wish I was dead and this. I said, do you listen to yourself? I said, you've got your whole life ahead of you. It might be 25. I said, there's actually somebody at this very moment
Mhm.
laying in a bed, taking their last breath with their family standing around them, wishing they had what you have your whole life ahead of you. And you're just wasting it with bullshit. So just get out there and enjoy it and make the most of every day, because you never know when it's going to be over. So
Oh my gosh. Whew, that was heavy. Well, on that note, and Lee, don't go anywhere. I want to say goodbye to you after this, but to everyone, to everyone watching, I hope you took in everything that Lee just said. Here we are, WOLFpak TV. Go to wolfpak.com for all your backpack, duffel bag, meal management needs. And until next time, maybe we'll see Lee Priest back again, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, of course, of course. I got so much more in my mind to unpack.
I would love
I'd be, if some psychiatrist ever met me, they'd be making a fortune. I'd be on their couch every day. But then by the end of it, maybe the psychiatrist would need a psychiatrist. So.
We love it. We love it. All right, everyone. See you later. Have a great evening. And until next time, WOLFpak out.